Welcome to Bible Songs Sing-Along at Walter Hill Church of Christ. Today's episode will include songs about Queen Esther and about Daniel. The first one is about Esther and her life. This is found in the Bible in the book of Esther. A young Jewish maiden named Esther became the new queen of the land. The king had a servant named Haman. The people bowed down to this man. Bow down, Mordecai, bow down to me, Bow down, Mordecai, bow down to me. But Mordecai just wouldn't listen. He did not obey the command. The king was tricked by evil Haman to kill every Jew in the land. So Mordecai came to Queen Esther. Please help us and talk to the king. The people of God are in danger. Perhaps that's why God made you queen. Help us, please go and talk to the king. Help us, oh please go and talk to the king. She told the king all about Haman, and Haman was very afraid. The king went and called for his soldiers. Go hang him on gallows he made. Queen Esther saved God's people Israel. No matter how hard Haman tried, don't go against God and his people. Be always upon the Lord's side. Always be on the side of the Lord. Always be on the side of the Lord. Another person that was always on the side of the Lord was Daniel. There are a lot of stories about Daniel in the Bible, and they're in the book named Daniel. Daniel was a young man when he was taken captive, but Daniel knew early on how to serve God. He knew what things would please God and what things would not. The king wanted several young men to train to become servants in his kingdom, and he gave these young men special privileges to eat from the king's food. But Daniel knew some of the things on the king's table were not pleasing to God. There were certain laws about things you could and could not eat, and Daniel wanted to obey those laws instead of the king. Daniel would not eat the king's food. Daniel would not eat the king's food. He didn't care what Nebuchadnezzar said. He ate vegetables instead. Daniel ate his carrots. Daniel ate his greens. Daniel ate all those healthy things. Daniel ate his carrots. Daniel ate his greens. Daniel ate healthy things. Now Daniel had 3 friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and you probably know the story about them in the fiery furnace. But let's sing a song about them now. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, Daniel's 3 friends. They didn't bow as told to the idol made of gold. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, they worshipped God only. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, you did not bow, and now you'll soon be dead. The king in anger said, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, get in the furnace now. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, God sheltered them. The king then looked inside. He saw they hadn't died. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, come out of the furnace now. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, your God is the Lord. I make a new decree to worship God, not me. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, they serve the one and only God. They didn't bow as told to the idol made of gold. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego. Daniel was a man of God, he was a Bible hero, he is called because he honored God through thick and thin. He didn't back down to save his skin, and the king sent Daniel down to the lion's den. The king was sorry he made the law, he sent his servant to the lions because he knew that Daniel did no wrong. He loved the Lord, his faith was strong, so the king went down to the door of the lion's den. The king was worried for Daniel's life, he was. He couldn't have made it through the night because there was no way out. They locked him in with hungry lions surrounding him, but the Lord kept Daniel safe in the lion's den. The king was glad to see him alive, he was, but now he had to put things right because he knew his men had tricked him into making the law, and for their sin he sent them all down to the lion's den. Daniel was a man of God, he was a Bible hero, he is called because Because he honored God through thick and thin. He didn't back down to save his skin, and the Lord kept Daniel safe in the lion's den. He honored God through thick and thin. He didn't back down to save his skin, and the Lord kept Daniel safe in the lion's den. Now, another prophet of God was Jonah. Jonah wasn't quite as anxious to follow God as Daniel was. Let's sing a song about him. Though he was a prophet of God, he would not go to Nineveh. He tried to sail away from the Lord. Splash, down went Jonah. The ship was saved, the sea was calm, but he was all alone. Soon there came a friend for him. Gulp, down went Jonah. He traveled on for 3 long days, but now the trip was over. The whale spit him upon the beach. Yuck, out went Jonah. And another song that combines Daniel and Jonah. Daniel, 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 Daniel in the lie. Daniel, 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 Daniel in the lie. Daniel, 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 Daniel in the lie. Daniel in the lions, Daniel in the lions, Daniel in the lions' den. Hooted, 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 swallow Jojo, Jojo. Hooted, 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 swallow Jojo, Jojo. Hooted, 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 swallow Jojo, Jojo. Hooted, swallow Jonah. Hooted, swallow Jonah. Hooted, swallow Jonah down. The whale did, 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 swallow Jojo, Jojo. Whale did, whale did, whale did, whale did, whale did, swallow Jojo, Jojo. Whale did, whale did, whale did, whale did, whale did, swallow Jojo, Jojo. Whale did swallow Jonah. A whale did swallow Jonah. A whale did swallow Jonah down.